must be our goal, our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
To you, and thank you for joining us. My name is Miriam Ogotu. The show is Good Morning Africa, and as usual, we're coming to you from Kenya's capital here in Nairobi, and we do have a lot in store for you. Before I introduce my panelists this morning and get into the headlines, I'd like to bring us up to date with the latest figures of COVID-19 in the country. And Kenya, so far this morning, the number of confirmed cases stands at 147,147 cases. The death toll is 2,394. Recovery so far is 99,580. And then we go to Uganda, where cases right now stands at 41,204. The death toll in Uganda is 337, and so far 40,779 people have since recovered from COVID-19 in Uganda. And South Africa, being the leading country in the continent, right now cases stands at 1,559,916. The death toll is 53,423, and recovery so far is 1,485,315. So even for South Africa, they're not doing too bad in terms of the recovery levels there. Of course, the country has recorded the highest number of deaths in the continent, and of course the number of confirmed cases so far. So the total figures in Africa this morning, 4,395,889. The death toll is 116,378, and so far the people who have been able to recover from COVID-19 in the continent right now standing at 3,903,539. And of course these figures are subject to change as different countries continue to update the latest figures as they receive them. And so joining me on the panel this morning, I have Dr. Joseph Nyanchama. Dr. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam.
Okay, and I'm also joined by Professor Jared Onyari. Prof, good morning. Okay, well, Prof is completing the joining. I'll go to Meru County, where we're joined by our in-house analyst and also an editor and a political aspirant, Douglas Kirimi. Douglas, good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu, and also to our crew at our reporters, and to Professor Jared Onyari and Dr. Nyanchama. A very good morning to you, Miriam.
Okay. Sasa, good morning to you, and karibu sana on the show this morning. So I'll take us through very quickly the three leading newspapers today, and then we'll start our conversation. So I'll start with the Daily Nation. And on the Daily Nation this morning, the main headline, Raila in talks with Gideon Muhoho. Optics analysts say the meeting at ODM leaders' residence sought to send out a message that the handshake between President Kenyatta and Mr. Odinga is still going strong, and to ward off Deputy President William Ruto's camp. The story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. And then just up there, spare Ramadan leaders tell Uhuru Muslim clerics and faithful appeal to President Kenyatta to allow them to say the Taraweeh prayers in the mosque by extending the start of the curfew. And then 3 patients die after failure of oxygen plant. And that the deaths occurred after mechanical failure disrupted the normal supply of the gas at Nakuru Level 5 Hospital. Quite an unfortunate incident there. And then we turn our attention to the Standard newspaper this morning. And the main headline on the Standard newspaper, Uhuru, Raila, new flurry of meetings. power play. A series of caucuses have characterized ODM leader's diary. On Saturday, he met the president for 6 hours, while yesterday he hosted Gideon Moi and Muhoho Kenyatta. What's cooking behind the scenes? Very good question there, the Standard is posing, and we shall attempt to find out, or just put our own theories as to what we think is really happening there. And then I think I'll just turn over to the Star newspaper, and the main headline there is why Kenyatta needs Raila in 2022 poll plan. Muhoho and Gideon met with ODM leader yesterday, and just on the side there, Professor Patricia Mbote taken to task over integrity issue. We know that the interview for our next Chief Justice is continuing right now. I think today they're on their third day, meaning they'll be having their third candidate to be interviewed today. 10 candidates, applied for this position. So today is day 3, and yesterday was Professor Patricia Mbote's time there at the Supreme Court of Kenya. And the MP Moses Kuria fined 75,000 Kenya shillings for flouting COVID rules. Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria and 10 other persons yesterday pleaded guilty to flouting COVID-19 restrictions and were fined 15,000 Kenya shillings each for 5 offences. If they fail to pay their fines, they will be locked up in prison for 6 months. And some Kenyans are feeling these fines are quite lenient, considering the stature of the accused there. All right, thank you so much. So that is what we have on our headlines this morning. So I'll just start with the headline on the Star newspaper, why Kenyatta needs Raila in 2022, a poll plan. And the story is on page 2 of the Star newspaper. Muhoho and Gideon met with ODM leader yesterday. Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, what do you think is happening there? No, doctor.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, Miriam. Sorry, I haven't been with you for a while, but me, the way I look at it generally is there is what we call in mathematics permutations. You know, a clever girl, if you want to make your prospective husband jealousy, you must pose with a photograph with the several men so that you incite your proper prospective husband. And if you look at the way Raila is posing for a photograph and meeting Gideon, and there has been a rumor that he was likely to make a coalition with the deputy president. You can guess what the strategy is. You know, it is at jealousy-making phase all over. I'm telling you, nobody has a concrete plan we can authoritatively report, and the things will filled out as we move closer towards the end of the year. I think my take is that they are now trying to filter their strategy to make other groups jealousy so that they also mark them, see how they behave. You know, when a woman wants to make a man jealousy, wants also to see, to test his love.
Okay.
Because you are looking for a partner whom you will live with forever. Similarly, they are looking for a coalition partner whom they will work with if they form the next government. So for me, the matters are intricate. I can only just give my personal opinion. That's the perspective I could look at from.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama. The story is on page 2 of the Star newspaper. Let me just read a bit of it. President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent out the clearest indication yet that he passionately wants ODM boss Raila Odinga in his 2022 succession matrix. 2 weeks after he visited Raila at his current home and took him on a tour of projects in Nairobi, his younger brother Muhoho Kenyatta and KANU chairman Gideon Muhoho also trooped to the home of the former prime minister. The meeting lifted the lead on Uhuru's spirited efforts to assuage jitters in the ODM camp and steady the handshake amid disquiet over alleged plot by powerful forces to betray Raila. Douglas Kivini.
Thank you, Miriam. One thing that we need to be able to see from the whole issue is that the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, is not as old as his father when he left power. He's not as old as Kibaki. President Kenyatta is at 60 years old. And we don't expect a man with a lot of money like President Kenyatta to just chill and go home and all that. He's a man that is poised to be able to influence his own succession. And all the jitteries that we are seeing on the political scene is of a man that is about 60 years old. Remember, all the people that have become president in this country, they have become president at a certain age that is not President Uhuru's age. When he became president, he became the youngest president in the history of our country. So we don't expect him to just go home and just keep quiet and idle with all the money that he has. He's someone that is going to influence his own political succession, and also to be able to be safe politically. Not that he cannot be able to retire and go home like people are saying, but you need to be able to contain a man with such political power and a man with such energy like he is today, and also with the money that he has today. In our country, you cannot just let such a politician just go home and do that. So I think for president to be able to influence his own succession or the people around the president, they have to crop all these people around. And also, I was very happy to see Muhoho Kenyatta for the first time come out for a very clear political mission at Karen, Raila's home in Karen. So, Miriam, these are scenarios that we are seeing that are playing out today. I've seen some people say that these are photos that are being sent to hoodwink the people of Kenya to think there is much that is happening. Truth of the matter is, a lot is happening in the country, and this is not happening in isolation. It's about politics of succession, and President Kenyatta will be succeeded, and maybe he will have a huge role in who succeeds him as a president. Remember, when Kenyatta was retiring, he did not retire openly. He died in office. And also for President Kibaki, he was frail and also sick, recovering from the accident that he had about 10 years ago. So for President Kenyatta, is something that I hope that this succession is going to go the way he wants, or the way he would think that it will be fit for the country. But the ultimate decision, of course, is with the people of Kenya. For Raila Odinga and others, I wish them all the best. But my heart is very, very, very open to anyone that can become president, because what we want and what our constitution encompasses is a situation where anyone can become president, Miriam. So for this and many other things as far as the presidency is concerned, our constitution is very open, and it is very clear on who can become president and what can happen when you become president. You get sworn in and serve your term and go home. Okay. So Miriam, for me, what we want as the people of Kenya and what the constitution encompasses is a situation where anyone can become president of the Republic of Kenya, no matter who becomes president. If it is William Ruto, the people of Kenya will have a decision. If it is Raila Odinga, the people of Kenya will have a decision. If the people of Kenya decided to vote for BBI and bring back President Kenyatta as the Prime Minister, well and good. It is the people of Kenya. The constitution and even political happenings cannot pre-exist the will of the people of Kenya. So Miriam, for me, I'm very open as far as this issue is concerned. Mm-hmm. And I hope that at the end of the day, that the people of Kenya can have a president of their own choice, a president that has the interest of the country, a president that cannot be able to let our country down because of greed, or a president that is not coming to steal from the people of Kenya and defranchise them economically and also deprive them of their social dignity and also honor as a people, Miriam. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So yesterday's meeting also came in the wake of signals of a possible Raila reunion with Deputy President William Ruto, who yesterday we were having this conversation. Deputy President's camp said there has not been such talks about having an alliance with opposition leader Raila Odinga. And a political force that analysts opine could crash Uhuru's 2022 plan. A Raila-Ruto alliance could vanquish Uhuru's game plan by sweeping Rift Valley and Nyanza, coast and northeastern regions, reminiscent of ODM's near annihilation of ex-President Mwai Kibaki in 2007 polls. And the DP last week met Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, who is ODM deputy party leader at the Maji Mzuri camp in Masai Mara Game Reserve, triggering panic in the president's camp. So we've seen this meeting that happened. President Uhuru Kenyatta, I'm sure, he sent his younger brother. Otherwise, why would Muhoho go? And Gideon Muhoho, who have been, they've formed their own alliance, the One Kenya Alliance. And so, I mean, is this not confusing? Jevan Karanja, what do you make of all this?
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And to me, I'm not reading a lot in the meeting that happened yesterday between Muhoho Kenyatta, Gideon Moi, and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, because we have seen since the handshake, President Uhuru Kenyatta has been a key man who is pushing Raila Odinga to succeed him. We have seen him going around with Raila Odinga, and to me, I call him that President Uhuru Kenyatta is familiarizing former Prime Minister Raila Odinga with the presidential duties. He is taking him around. He takes him to State House. Therefore, and he has been very categorical that this man, my brother, he has helped me to ensure that I stabilize my legacy. And since we had the handshake, I have been in peace. Therefore, Miriam, a man who have made you to be at peace of mind, I think is a good person to me. And we have seen a number of people, especially even in Mount Kenya region, who are coming out openly. The likes of Kabogo, the likes of Nyeri MP, Gonjiru Wambogo, who are saying that wherever President Uhuru Kenyatta will tell us to go, that is where we will follow. Even if he says we support Raila Amolo Odinga, we will support him. And we saw even Raila Odinga making an entry into Mount Kenya region when he was in Githurai. Therefore, when you see all of these, Miriam, you see the heart of President Uhuru Kenyatta is more into Raila Odinga presidency than his deputy president succeeding him. Therefore, the meeting yesterday was a culmination of what has been happening. And for a fact, we know Muhoho Kenyatta is a very critical when it comes to politics of this country. He plays behind the scene, and when you see him coming outright, then you know things are rolling in the right direction. And what I predict in future, Raila might not become the president, because at the end of the day, Kenyans will vote. But if Kenyans will give him a chance, then President Uhuru Kenyatta will be one happiest man as he leaves office. Because what I understand, and when you look at all these 2022 matrix, you'll see that President Uhuru Kenyatta remains a kingmaker. Wherever he will support Miriam, will have a higher take to succeed him, because they have been said that he is the man who controls the systems and everything else. He is too close to power, and he knows how the games are played. Therefore, at the end of the day, if he supports you, and President Uhuru Kenyatta have said it categorically, and he said it in vernacular radio station in Mount Kenya, that when he leaves power, he will show us and the people of this country as a suitable successor who will continue working on the legacy that he has already established. And I don't think that person is his deputy, William Ruto. But he said, when that time comes, and I'm not leaving politics anytime soon, even if I retire from politics in 2022, I will be playing behind the scenes. Therefore, we are not expecting President Uhuru Kenyatta to go and to vanish in the political scenes completely. He will be having a voice. Will be having a hand on what will be happening even after 2022. Therefore, he must be interested on whoever succeeds him. And because Raila Amolo Odinga has portrayed a picture of statesmanship, he has portrayed a picture of a man who can be trusted with the helms of power, I think President Uhuru Kenyatta and all those people who are close to power, they have no problem with him succeeding him, because we know prior to that, we have been having a lot of conspiracies that have denied Raila Odinga the presidency. And I think these conspiracies theories have been fading away day in, day out. Therefore, and the people here are opening eyes, because Miriam, in Mount Kenya region, you could not have been discussing Raila Odinga openly because people thought he was an evil man. But these days, when you go around, you'll see groups of people asking questions. Why have we not been voting for Raila Odinga? What did he do to our people that makes us to hate him? And when you go deeper, you find that there's nothing substantial. These conspiracies have been created by political elites so that they can succeed politically, because there are some people who have a career around Raila Amolo Odinga. When they want to be re-elected, they go and they come and they portray Raila Odinga as a very bad man who needs not to go close to power. But these days, the conversation is changing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now the presence. I'm reading from page 2 of this newspaper.
Hello, Miriam. Can you get me?
No, just let me, I'm coming to you, Amusa, I'm coming to you.
Okay.
Now, the presence of Gideon, who is a principal in One Kenya Alliance, swelled speculations whether the president will persuade Raila to a negotiating table with the team to build a larger coalition. Raila's camp has been rocked by fears over a scheme by Uhuru's men to pick his successor from the One Kenya Alliance of Gideon, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, ANC boss Kalonzo Musalia Mudavadi, and Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula. So we've seen a lot of complaints, I think, from both Uhuru's side and Raila's side. They're foot soldiers there sometimes. But President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga had not come out outrightly to, saying that perhaps the handshake is in trouble. What we've seen them put up there in public is the handshake is secure, the handshake is on course, and, they will be delivering that referendum pretty soon. So will this move we see here yesterday, and from the story we are reading right now, President Uhuru Kenyatta even paid Raila Odinga a visit, I think, over the weekend. Perhaps is President Uhuru Kenyatta reiterating his commitment to the handshake and whatever it is that they agreed on, because a lot of the details of that meeting is not out there, but we know they agreed that they need to have a united Kenya, among other things. So is this President Uhuru Kenyatta's trying to, bring confidence and say, I signed up to this. I'm still committed to seeing this to its fruition. Is that perhaps what President Uhuru Kenyatta is telling us, Musa?
Thank you, Miriam. I'm really humbled to be here. Miriam, just going directly to the point. I know we are not. We are living in a bit of fantasy, Miriam, when we try to charter the way forward. As far as 2022 politics is concerned, and what I am seeing, Miriam, and it's good to be true to this panel and even to all the viewers in this television, is that in any action of a human being, there must be a micro actors and there must be macro actors, even in any setup of the economy. So the likes of Gideon Moi, Moses Wetangula, Musalia Mudavadi, Miriam, these are people who are being given guidance, who are being shown some sense of how they can think along the presidency, but not how they can think in the presidency, Miriam. What am I saying by this? We know very well presidency is all about, in Kenya, as Professor Nyari has put it, it's all about tyranny of numbers. It's all about how many stupid voters you have in this country, whether they are learned or not, whether they will be blind for you. In this sense, Miriam, what I see is that President is really trying to reiterate the commitment of BBI. Fine, it is okay. But what I'm afraid is he might be shortchanged, Miriam, in the process of some of these individuals seeking for this BBI and, issues of passing this BBI and making it a bill, Miriam. Why am I saying this? The conflict of interest is already coming up. We are seeing a lot of people exchanging contacts. The newspapers have now, the realities have now, reality has down on them that indeed the alliance between Raila Amolo Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto, Miriam, is very possible. So for my opinion, there is one thing I would like to tell Mr. President. Definitely he's not going to come back. I don't want to occasion Uhuru Kenyatta being the Prime Minister again, because it's going to be something which is not in line, indeed, if someone is really intending to progress this country ahead. What I really intend to see, Miriam, as far as this is concerned, maybe let these actors charter the way forward, but we already have in place two macro actors. That is Raila Amolo Odinga and the Deputy President William Ruto. These are two clear people with a clear, let's say, ambition. And let's say if even they are shortchanged, they can still find themselves in the ballot. Miriam, what am I saying by this? There are others whom it will be very hard for them even for their name to be printed on the ballot because of the headache of getting the running mate, Miriam. The problem with William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga is getting the running mate now. But the problem with One Kenya Alliance is getting the legitimacy. So you are seeing the other one is a step of the other one. So it's really a very big distance apart politically, Miriam. And as far as these issues of BBI is concerned, I know the parliament, they have not changed it. So maybe the only thing they can use, and I see it, Miriam, to advance their interest and maybe try to resonate with Uhuru Kenyatta's base of those people who voted for him in 2017, is by using this BBI to advance their presidential agenda, because there are no rallies at this place. Probably, let's say, June, July, August, that is the time maybe we are going to see President easing the restriction as far as, public rallies is concerned. So I'm seeing BBI being the scapegoat, Miriam, for One Kenya Alliance. And at the same time, I see BBI being the selling point for Deputy President William Ruto. So the only person standing out who is a bit maybe not relying on anything apart, even he can move out of this BBI umbrella and even stand alone, it might be Raila Amolo Odinga. I'm not saying he is opposing it, but he has that capacity of being overpopular in this country as far as, issues of presidential candidature is concerned. This is the person who, if today all the ballots could be blindfolded, then the possibility of all the ballots recognizing Raila Amolo Odinga is very high, because he has been in every ballot, Miriam, since 1990s. Mm-hmm. So I see more of it as a scapegoat or a use of it to scale their presidential ambition, Miriam, I submit.
Okay. Thank you so much. Professor Jared Onyari.
Miriam, I will approach this from two lines. I will either decide to ignore it, or I will try to read too much the way Kenyans do. Miriam, the Prime Minister, Engineer Raila Amolo Odinga, was sick. Not only that, the ordinary sickness, Miriam, he was suffering from COVID-19. You add him from his own mouth, Miriam, akisema alikuwa hadi ya maututi. But God has helped him out of that, Miriam. Miriam, even if I will do, the only best thing I will do is to wish the Engineer Raila Amolo Odinga, our Prime Minister, well. If I want to go and see Miriam, I will start looking for the appointments here and there. Mm-hmm. You see it, Miriam. But whom can you see? When you see Gideon, Miriam, you see Gideon Muhoho, Kenyatta. Those are buddies, Miriam. Those are the equal. They belong to the same class, Miriam. Haven't you seen before Muhoho going to Raila's home in Bondo? What does it tell you? These are friends. They had gone to see him and thank God that their friend, one of their own, has gotten well. So, Miriam, unless I was there, but if I just write a composition from the pictures, Miriam, here is that there are some people in this country who have got no role to play. But their words are very serious, Miriam, and you don't ignore them. And before I advance on that argument, Miriam, let me just have this to say. President Uhuru Kenyatta has said not once, not twice, but several times that he's retiring and going home. And I heard someone saying that they will retire at the age of 60 years. What you should be prepared is we are going to take care of him until God comes, or until he leaves this world. We are going to give him an office, give him the medical cover, Miriam, give him the security, give him an office, build for him a home. That's exactly what's going to happen for him. So that's now it comes to dawn that the reason why you need not to elect a young president, you take many years to take care of him. That's how I have to say. And someone has said that why President Uhuru Kenyatta may want, why is interested is going home. In fact, if he want to be safe, Miriam, he either not commit himself. Did you see how Mwai Emilio Kibaki, the retired president, how he behaved, Miriam? Did you see him going outside to campaign for any other person? Did he? So that's what an intelligent man do. But Miriam, be it as it may, when you see Dr. Oburu Odinga speak speaking something, Miriam. Don't ignore him. He's speaking for someone. He's speaking for his brother. He has been saying, Miriam, and it's very categorical, Miriam, that they have been winning an election, Miriam. And when they have been winning an election, Miriam, only what they have lacked, Miriam, is a system. And they are very careful, Miriam, not to antagonize that system. You can see from that angle, Miriam. They have been winning the elections, Miriam, without the system. But now, when they have the system, why should you antagonize the system, which is going to be so friendly? And in any event, Miriam, it is not how you start the marathon, but it's on how you finish. That's more important, Miriam, when you go to the finish line. The deputy president, Miriam, you know very well, he has interfered with the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. They might have started well in white shirts, red ties, matching, Miriam, ready to go and work. But toward the final end, Miriam, he has abandoned Uhuru Kenyatta, Miriam. Thank God for our brother who has assisted the president, Miriam. So on this, Raila has played the game very well. So when you see George Muhoho going to see Raila, and the people who fix things, you will never see them they want. But when you see them, it sends signals, Miriam. It sends signals. Muhoho Kenyatta, Miriam, is a shrewd businessman. He has got every reason, Miriam, to ensure that the next regime must be able to give them conducive environment to continue with these businesses, Miriam. So without much ado, when you see Muhoho Kenyatta, there is a statement which is being passed, Miriam. There is a statement, Miriam. When you see a dog barking and you are reaching near the road, Miriam, you must stand and tell the owner, okay, this dog might bite me.
And the presence of Gideon Muhoho, the member of One Alliance.
I am advancing the argument. I want to deal with one. Okay. So when you see Muhoho Kenyatta, that is Kenyatta you are seeing. Let me just conclude there. What about Gideon Muhoho? Miriam, you have heard several times, not once, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta himself saying that what President Moi did to him. President Moi took him as his son, na akamfanyia mengi, na aweze akasahau. Are you getting that one? Are you getting that kind of statement, Miriam? So one of the edicts, Miriam, here is Uhuru Kenyatta must leave Gideon Muhoho in safe hands. In that kind of arrangement, whichever year in, Miriam, Gideon Muhoho will be a deputy prime minister. Gideon Muhoho will be a deputy president. In any arrangement, mark this one and you'll come and tell me. And in fact, that is what is disturbing Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So you will see him walking in which area where Gideon Muhoho will be accommodated, Miriam. Because Miriam, you can hear this the late President Daniel Moi could say that he used to summon them and tell them walk together. And wherever you used to see Kenyatta going to Moi's home, who was receiving him?
It's Gideon.
These are the boys. These are the same guys, Miriam. They went the same school, St. Mary's. So they have got a wrong history, Miriam. So if you behave like animals, like monkeys, Miriam, you see one scratching the other one's back. When it finishes, Miriam, the other one turns. So Miriam, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has got no choice but to walk on with Gideon Muhoho to see that he has left him safe hands, where he can spring to become the president of this country, and even become a president of this country. Politics is a game of the post-war, Miriam.
Okay.
I submit.
Very well, thank you so much. And we'll go to a story on page 9 of the Star newspaper. Courier fined 75,000 Kenya shillings for flouting COVID rules. Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Courier and 10 other persons on Tuesday pleaded guilty to flouting COVID-19 restrictions and were fined 75,000 Kenya shillings each, or 6 months imprisonment. In default, the accused appeared before Kiambu Chief Magistrate Stella Atambo virtually and faced 5 counts, including consumption of alcohol while failing to maintain physical distance, not wearing face masks, contravening prohibition of gatherings, and breaking the curfew. They were in Karuri Police Station where they took a plea. The court had that on April 12, 2021, at about 9 p.m. at Havila Cornerstone Restaurant in Kiambaa County, sub-county, the 11 accused were found drinking beers and spirits in contravention of the directive issued by Cabinet Secretary for Health on prevention and control or suppression of COVID-19. The second count read that the 11 were accused jointly, were found taking alcohol without maintaining social distance of not less than 1 meter from each other. On the third count, they were found without putting on face masks to cover their nose and mouth. The fourth count said they were found having gathered 30 people at the Havila Corner Ranch in contravention of the COVID-19 rules, and of course they were there way past 9 p.m. and we know the curfew right now is at 8 p.m. I'll start with you, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, Member of Parliament.
Miriam, can you allow me? I wanted to count.
Go ahead.
Just in 30 seconds, what Professor was saying.
Yes.
About the meeting between Gideon and Right Honorable Raila Odinga. For me, the way I see it, we say there are 3 situations in life. There is the fact, there is the truth, and there is the confirmed gospel. So the confirmed gospel here is that the people in ODM believe that Uhuru Kenyatta was supporting one alliance. In fact, the president of the Republic of Kenya, because he pledged unity, he wanted to demystify that and probably request one of the proponents of One Kenya Alliance to meet Raila Odinga. It's the proof, the thinking that he was completely shifting to the other side, because this is a member of One Kenya Alliance. He's meeting with Raila. Why do you think those who are using as a narrative to say that the president is forsaking the handshake? So there is a leeway of saying members of One Kenya Alliance have been working with Raila Odinga. I think, for me, the president of the Republic is not, by the way, interested in seeking leadership in future. In fact, he has been so tactful and a clever man that so far he has not been a lame duck as alleged. Many presidents by now, they could be lame ducks. In fact, this rearranging of prejudices is helping Uhuru Kenyatta. He is continuing comfortably ruling, and they will rule up to the end. Miriam, can I tell you why the proposed coalition with the DP, with Raila, was not visible? They realized these two people have equal egos. Number one, the DP cannot be the deputy president. He has finished his deputy president's term. Do you think Raila Odinga would be the deputy of Ruto? And that's why they found it's not visible. That's why you see it here now, and all of them are back to the drawing board. Anyway, that is how I view it. Coming to now the question you were asking me about the COVID of Korea.
Yes.
I think, he moved very fast and paid the fine. Under normal circumstances, what do? They deny. Why do you think he moved and paid the fine? He says they are always unfair to us. Even if they are unfair, they charge us. We pay. We don't want to be jailed, so that we move with our narrative of if you read further, that behavior, they will pick it also to say that they have been unfair to us. but we overcame. I think all the same, it has taught people that however senior you are, you need to obey all the protocols, and it's linked in the COVID-19. And I want to personally urge all leaders to do the same. I think he has also sent a message that no one is going to be spared. I think that is the positive side of it. I submit here.
Okay. Douglas. Javen.
Thank you, Miriam.
Okay, go ahead. Douglas.
The responsibility of our leaders is very nauseating and also very bad, especially when you look at what Moses Kuria did. It is what led William Ruto to be able to fraud COVID-19 rules in 2019, and also for the BBI proponents like myself, people are all over campaigning for BBI and all that. When you see our leaders come out here and also start going drinking at night, and also they being charged in a court of law, and also the same Moses Kuria will come to Juja constituency and start campaigning for a PIP candidate who is which is his own party, and also for William Ruto would move across the nation, moving from one rally to another, telling people how he is being fought and his presidency is unstoppable. Miriam, we're in the middle of an health emergency, and most of our leaders, what they are doing today is very depressing, to say the least, and I have no kind words for such leaders. For example, in Meru, Governor Kiraito Murungi is accused of mismanagement of COVID-19 funds. The governor got sick of COVID-19, and everyone was asking us, the people of Meru, to pray for our governor for quick recovery. Miriam, I would ask an ordinary question from ordinary people of Meru. Why are you telling us what to do with the health of our governor when he cannot be able to account for the funds that were meant for COVID-19 mitigation purposes? Why would you ask us to pray for them when they don't care about the poor people? Moses Kurias of this world, when they go and drink in those bars, contract the coronavirus, and go and spread it in Juja constituency or any other place in Gatundu South, Moses Kuria, remember, he is recovering from he has recovered from COVID-19. The fact that he recovered does not mean he cannot be able to get COVID-19 again, Miriam. So for me, and also presenting the views of a lot of people, our leaders are not doing us any service by doing the things that they are doing. It seems that Kenya is not used to this kind of political isolation, and politicians keeping quiet. They want to keep coming out there, going to rallies, lying to people. As sitting deputy president who cannot work in his office, he is flying around the country, floating COVID-19 rules and everything, so that he can write to the people of Kenya, so that the people of Kenya can be able to be politically malnourished and also politically taken advantage of. And also, as you deprive them economically, because even the people of Kimorel, today is a rainy season. They keep waiting for their 2 dams. They have been consumed by these politicians. They have built hotels, bought high-end vehicles, and at the end of the day, people continue suffering, Miriam, even in the middle of coronavirus. And as a Kenyan, I would beseech and ask our leaders to be able to desist from taking advantage of the people of Kenya. Moses Kuria can afford healthcare anywhere in the world, but for the poor people of Gatundu South, Juja constituency, where he spends his time in Kiamba, where he wants to make another person stand for the MP seat that has been left vacant by the death of the former MP Paul Koinange, and all that, Miriam. It is very non-sitting and also very, very, very depressing to see what is happening in our country. And also, Miriam, I wanted to make a point on the issue of the president, the suspicion in ODM when they see the people in One Kenya Alliance and thinking that the president is supporting him. The president knew that these people, Gideon Moi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, and Musalia Mudavadi, were there when he reached out to Raila Odinga. He could have reached out to them as a pair in 2018, but the president did not do that. 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years later, why would the president go for the others and not Raila Odinga, who they started the handshake with? We know very well, Miriam, that the Gideon Moi, when he goes to our village, no child can be able to recognize them. The young voters cannot be able to recognize them. Moses Wetangula can move across Meru without anyone knowing who he is. Musalia Mudavadi, the same case. Kalonzo Musyoka, the same case, despite the fact that he studied in Meru and he has some roots in Meru. These are people, Miriam, that are threatening Raila Odinga that he cannot run in 2022 and they can be supported by President Kenyatta. I think everyone by now knows in this country that the President Uhuru Kenyatta is not politically daft. Political genius of President Uhuru Kenyatta has been displayed over 3 years now. He has been able to contain and work with opposition. He has been able to tame a defiant deputy president who continues undermining him and also destroying his administration through routing of public funds and all that, using proxies and everyone that matters in his own circle to be able to deprive the people of Kenya the services that they want. So Miriam, for me, my point is the people in Okoa, not Okoa, Kenya, One Kenya Alliance, these are people who want to remain politically relevant and the president has nothing to do with them. For Gideon Moi and everything, they have their family friendship and all that, but the politics of Kenya is bigger than family. And at the end of the day, we shall have a president that shall be able to lead the people of Kenya the right way, but that president cannot be a thief. The people of Kenya are praying that we shall not have an economic bandit as our president. In Somalia, they are having a president who is a terrorist, Miriam, who is accommodating terrorism and everyone, the police force is infiltrated by terrorism and all that. For Kenya, we cannot have a political bandit and also an economic bandit as our president, but we shall have a president that means well for the people of Kenya. And I believe from my heart, that person is not in One Kenya Alliance. For the people in One Kenya Alliance, I've always said, these people are angling for positions that are going to fall after the presidency goes with another man, Miriam. Okay. Thank you, I submit.
Thank you so much, Chairman Karanja, MP Moses Kuria there, and other people found there flouting these rules put forth to try to curb COVID-19, even staying there past the curfew hours. But
thank you.
Before you even answer, Jevon, I think the other conversation we should be having is, why was this bar serving then? Because the last I checked, you're supposed to buy whatever you're buying and leaving. So why are they getting away? I don't know if the authorities were able to get those answers from this recreational place. There was a seating, but go ahead.
Thank you very much for that question. And you see, we have a problem with our political elites who take advantage and that they use the Kenyans to peddle their political ambitions when they buy them these cheap drinks. And it's so unfortunate that our courts are they are being lenient to these guys. And I expected the least, Moses Kuria to spend like 3 months or 4 months in prison so that he acts as a deterrent to others who might thinking of committing such crimes. Because we are dealing with a pandemic, and it is not fair when we see a leader of that magnitude coming out without observing the COVID-19 laid protocols, going beyond the curfew hours, drinking alcohol and spirits with a group of people without face mask and so on, and without maintaining a social distance. That is a very bad picture that they are portraying out here. Therefore, to our courts, they need to act and deal with these people mercilessly, because if it happens that one of them was COVID positive, they have spread to a number of people, and these people, Miriam, they are not well financially compared to Moses Kuria, who battled COVID-19 and he was successful. Some of these Kenyans, they cannot even afford to go to Nairobi hospital where he was. Therefore, it is a very bad picture, and our politicians should behave. They are very bad-mannered, and they do things to show that they are brave. You know, in this country, Miriam, we glorify, and it's unfortunate that we glorify those people who go against the law. We glorify the corrupt. We glorify the guy with bad morals. We glorify anybody who does bad. That is who becomes a hero in this country. When you look at the character of Moses Kuria, you'll see a man who does not uphold any moral regard. And he does things, he insults everybody, he insults the prime minister, the president, and everybody else. And he ends up being re-elected. And it's so unfortunate that the people of Kiambu calls him Jabaya Rurere, meaning that a hero of the community in Kiambu. Therefore, these kind of people, they don't even deserve to be elected into elective position. They need to be doing other things out there, but not in service delivery and leadership. And therefore, it's up even to us Kenyans to to see the kind of people that we elect, because we do it emotionally, because we have somebody has said that when you elect so and so, they will take your lands and you will be left as refugees in your own country, and we end up voting the wrong people who end up even defranchising us financially, and in terms of development they underperform. Therefore they are the problem that we must deal with. Therefore we need to wake up and see the reality, and we go for leaders who can protect us. We go for leaders who can take this country to the next level, but not the likes of Moses Kuria, because what he is doing is to show a character of defiance, and that is what they do in Tanga, that they go contrary to government, so that when they are laid in court of law, now you will hear Moses Kuria saying that the government is intimidating us. The government doesn't want our man to be elected. That is the People Empowerment Party candidate in Junja. They are saying that he is being intimidated by government because they are forced to reckon, and that is not the reality. Therefore, they are playing the sympathy card so that they can get some emotions from Kenyans who feel like the government has not performed well because of the hard economic times, and we are dealing with the crisis. Now they want to portray the government as a machinery that is being used to intimidate their candidate. Therefore, that should not be the case. Kenya should read beyond that, and they go for the right candidate. And to Kenyans, let us protect ourselves without even being forced by our politicians or even being forced by the law. Because this disease, when it gets on you, it is at individual level. It will not come for you as a group or in circle. It will come for you as an individual. Therefore, it is upon every one of us to protect ourselves responsibly. Because if Kenyans were well disciplined, nobody could be following Moses Kuria around. Therefore, it cuts across that both Moses Kuria and the guys who are following him, they also need to spend some time in prison so that they act as an example to others who might want to misbehave in future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Musa?
Yes, Miriam.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Miriam. First of all, my brother Douglas Kirimi said some individuals are malnourishing Kenyan political agenda. My brother Douglas, Kenya was never nourished at the first place. Since independence, our politics have been ethnical. Our politics have been politics of money. Our politics have never been politics of ideas. And that's why we are where we are. And that's why Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia are where they are. That is the difference. Our leadership have never been long-term. We've all the time been thinking about next general election. So what will make William Ruto's followers all the time to think that now is the next savior? Because what our leaders could think about, Musalia Mudavadi has been thinking about next election. William Ruto has been thinking about next election. Everyone has been saying next election, but Dr. Nyanchama is here. Mahathir Mohamed is speaking about the next generation. Suharto is speaking about the next decade. The people, someone like Lee Kuan Yew left, Singapore in a good place. So Miriam, I don't think this country is heading the right way as far as sanitizing our politics is concerned. The very same people, Miriam, who have been supporting BBI are the very same people who are going to destroy BBI. That is what I will keep on saying. How I wish this BBI could have been a common man initiative whereby we could have gone the Tanzanian way of the wawakilishi wa wadi or wajumbe, wawakilishi, at a ward level could have been managing this, Miriam. But unfortunately, everything, even you paying for a toilet or a washroom license in this country must be political, Miriam. That's how we've been. We've politicized everything. We've politicized our economy. We've politicized our healthcare system. So I will not blame Uhuru Kenyatta for this. He came and he inherited what has been in place, Miriam. So now going to the political agenda of these people, I don't know, One Kenya Alliance, I don't know, Raila Amolo Odinga, William Ruto, I will tell them that they should just take a good lesson from one man, Emilio Mwai Kibaki. Miriam, I could confidently say Why not for Mwai Kibaki, then I could have been a school dropout. Because I was the first product of the free primary education, Miriam. Leave alone these people complaining of free primary education in Nairobi or Kiambu. Miriam, free primary education, now you are complaining because the classes are crowded. Miriam, leave alone the classes. Me in my village, Miriam, even getting that classroom was a big deal. We were learning under a tree shed. So when the government announced that we are going to be given free books, we are going to be given, free admission, Miriam, it really meant a lot for us. And as Professor Nyari has put it, if there was a man these leaders should admire and they should just look to borrow a leaf from, is this man called Mwai Kibaki. Up to now, he's not speaking. All his ministers retired with him. Miriam, a good number of people who are really even working for him are not mentioning his name because he never wanted to make people be sycophantic to him. He just wanted people to be free. If there was a man who inherited the levels of education, Miriam, teachers were respected in this country. Journalists were respected in this country. Nowadays, Miriam, you can just go to a news channel and by the time you finish your 24 minutes or 25 minutes news channel updates, you will leave that television as a sad man. But during Kibaki's time, Professor Nyari is here. Hardly goes a time when the president could not make people laugh, not because he was that funny in this country, Miriam. So to William Ruto, death is here. No one can escape death. No one can escape the judgment of God. Loot as much as you want. But also know the generations of your generation of your children are being looted from, not by any Kenyan, but by your character. Miriam, there is one thing we are forgetting. We are forgetting values in leadership. Values is very important. There is being a Kikuyu, Miriam, but there is being a Christian. There is being a Kalenjin, Miriam, but there is being a Christian. There is being a Somali, Miriam, but there is being a Muslim. Are we having leaders whom Dr. Nyanchama has been referring all the time, leaders who have conscience, Miriam? If indeed we have leaders who can heal this community, then why are we still talking about Kiamba? Why are we still talking about 2007, 2008, Miriam? Professor Nyari is here. One of the strategies of redemption and healing the community as enshrined in the BBI is to make people heal from the past wounds. But who is trying to bring those stuffs? William Ruto is here all the time, Miriam, trying to frustrate, this process and, trying to remind people that indeed he was one of the, among the orchestrators of this stuff, Miriam, in 2007, 2008. And my final submission, Miriam, we should not only target William Ruto, we should target all the people with these similar characters. We have a lot of them in this government. Why are we lying, Miriam? We have a good number of bad leaders in this country who are very embodiment of bad governance we have. William Ruto might just be, maybe being made popular because, Miriam, if the firstborn in the house makes a grave mistake or a very big mistake, and the lastborn commits even much worse mistake, the firstborn is going to be accountable. He's going to be induced for what he has done. So, Miriam, my humble submission is, let it be objectified. Let us have a sense of, critiquing and giving the credit where it is due.
Okay.
And studying where we are heading as a country, Miriam.
Okay. Thank you so much. Musa might not have really understood the subject that we had already moved on from that subject. So we were on Courier, who was fined 75,000 Kenya shillings for floating COVID-19. That is where we were. But thank you so much for that contribution, Professor.
Miriam, the law is very clear. The man has frauded the COVID-19 rules. He has been arrested, Miriam. He has gone to court. And simply because he can afford to pay the fine, Miriam, he has accepted. You saw Sakaja doing the same. You just go because you have got money, nothing. What's 5,000? You pay and you go on. What happens to a poor man? But the law is very clear, Miriam, and that's where they match to are missing the point. It says you can pay a fine, you can serve, you can you can go in for 6 months, as it says, it can be both. Why can't the magistrate use the both ones so that these people can know Miriam? The law is very sharp. So on this Miriam, the courts are not helping us. The law says you can pay the fine, and these people have got the ability to pay the fine. What is 5,000, and you walk away and go?
So they could have been given a deterrent, something that will
yes, that's what I totally concur with Chairman. What you could do, the law is very clear, Miriam. If you read that section, it says you can pay the fine, you can go in, or it can be both. Why can't the judge give them the fine, put them in, so that it can deter?
Good question. Yeah. And that establishment.
If it was poor Chavan, if he accepts, is not able to pay that 5,000 million, he will go in for 6 months. But I'm looking forward in the future, and my magistrate, I hope they are seeing me. There is that option of the law, because that is the disrespect and disregard of the law. Simply because what's 5,000 I can pay. Askari nipeleke. Hakuna kitu utanifanya. Ulipatikana jana hivyo kifanya, yes, pay the fine, and he pays, and then you see him just walking. So in the future, the courts should use that both. Yeah, both. You pay the fine, you go in, it can deter. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, and what about, Professor, that establishment that allowed these people to gather there against the rules? And we know the restaurant industry has really been affected by COVID-19, but if they cannot do the part to help the government in ensuring these measures, and the government decides to continue closing and putting these restrictions in place, are they not supposed to be held accountable? I mean, accountable to them on their part?
Yesterday I was here and I was telling you that, and I saw so many of the panelists trying to oppose what I was trying to tell them.
Which was?
Some of these rules, Miriam, with the curfew which is being put, or the lockdown, Miriam, is only punishing poor people. Miriam, the law, when it is there, Miriam, the rules when they are there, they are supposed to serve all of us. The poor people cannot drink, but the rich people can be able to drink, Miriam. They can be able to open their restaurants, Miriam. And what I say, Miriam, I always say that corruption will bring this country down, Miriam. Miriam, you want to tell me that there is no intelligence, there is no police, there is no chief, there is no village elder to know that that restaurant is working? Honest. It is not in the moon. The village elder is there. Nyumba Kumi is there. The assistant chief is there. The chief is there. The interior guard, the national government is there, Miriam. The intelligence is there. They know who operates. So, Miriam, trying to say that actions will be taken, Miriam, this is total impunity, and this is what impunity can do. That's what I have to say, Miriam. Okay. That's total impunity.
It's impunity. All right. Thank you so
Miriam.
much, Professor. Yes, go ahead.
For Professor, you and I are advocates of the poor. I did not oppose you yesterday. I was advocating for the poor. The containment measures are at least saving the poor people from the mass deaths. I know that the lives of many poor people are affected and everything, but for the rich people in this country to be able to be served justice, it is true to the letter and spirit of the Constitution that the rule of law does not know status in this life, does not understand the poor or the rich. But in our own country, Kenya, the Chief Justice that is being recruited right now, the only thing they are promising that has been promised by Mutunga, and even if others, Sesoni, Evan Gesheru and others, if they were interviewed like the way we are seeing these interviews today, in 2011, when Mutunga was being interviewed, he said, my priority is to make sure that the backlog and poor people are released from prison. Maraga, the same. This other Chief Justice that is being recruited, everyone is promising the same, Miriam. So for the poor people in this country, they have nowhere to go, Miriam. And at the end of the day, when you look at it critically, the poor person has no defender. When the government puts the containment measures, these are not containment measures for the rich. The rich people have a leeway in this country. When they steal, nobody talks about them. When they steal, when you speak about them, you are told you hate them because they are rich.
All right, we apologize for that. Go ahead. Douglas.
So at the end of the day, Miriam, when the poor people in this country do not get an opportunity to be able to be tried in a court of law.
Okay, we apologize for that. I think Professor has forgotten to mute his device. Yeah, we apologize. Okay, go ahead, Douglas.
So Miriam, at the end of the day, when these containment measures are put in place and the rich people in this country do not adhere to them, I see this everywhere. Even in Meru, the rich people will move in the middle of the night. They will be spreading corona all over, greeting people and all that. They will go to everywhere. But the poor people, because they have nowhere to go, no one can be able to listen to them. We cannot. Sorry, I made the wrong statement. You cannot be able to try a rich people like Moses Kuria and take them to prison for 3 months to teach them a lesson. This country is doomed. The only thing that can save our judiciary and to be able to work very well is to have a chief justice that is hands-on, to make sure that justice is served whether you are poor or rich, because justice and the rule of law are blind to status in society, Miriam. Because when we look at this thing, if today the people that arrested me when I had a face mask, they wanted 2,000 from me. If I was not bright enough, I would maybe be serving as prison of 2 months in prison, or maybe sweeping in town because I didn't have a mask. But at the end of the day, if I was rich, if I was an MP, or if I was senator or governor of Meru, nobody would be touch me. They would tell me, Your Excellency, go home. May God bless you. Tomorrow come with a mask. But for the poor person in this country, nobody cares about them. But when government puts containment measures to be able to deal with issues and mitigate the issues of COVID-19, I applaud the government for that. And I hope the president speaks soon so that he can reopen the 5 counties and we get back to business, Miriam, and grow our economy and grow our country, because the poor people continue suffering as the rich, even in the middle of coronavirus, they continue flourishing. Remember, in the middle of coronavirus, they saw COVID-19, billions. Today, they are very rich. They can be able to afford to go to any bar. They can afford to go anywhere in this country, Miriam, and even outside the country. As for the poor person in this country, it is God and for them, and maybe Uhuru Kenyatta who cares about them, because he is the only person who seems to be caring about the welfare of the people. Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. So now let's just switch gears to another story here. Just seen it. Ruto dismisses Morocco's envoy's claims he backs autonomy plan. And the reason why, because we talked about it last week. And so now, Deputy President, on page 8 of the Star newspaper, Deputy President William Ruto has dismissed claims made by Moroccan ambassador to Kenya that he supports the autonomy plan as the best solution to the Moroccan Sahara issue. In a letter seen by the Star to Foreign Affairs CS Rachel Omamo, Ruto, through Chief of Staff Ambassador Ken Osinda, says the claims are false and urges the ministry to deal with the matter in accordance with the government protocol. It has come to my attention that on March 24, 2021, through an article published in a Morocco news agency, MAP, that certain claims were attributed to His Excellency the Deputy President. These claims were again repeated during a TV interview on March 26, 2021, between Mehdi, Channel 1 TV, and Ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco to Kenya, El Mokhtar Gamboa. Note that the clip played during the interview is from a different event attended by Deputy President William Ruto and has nothing to do with the claims made by the ambassador. Osinda writes in the letter dated April 12th. The DP said Kenya will continue backing the independence of the Sahrawi Republic, clarifying that there were no divisions in the country's top leadership on the contentious issue. In the article by MAP News, Ruto is quoted as saying the autonomy plan under Moroccan sovereignty in the southern provinces is the best solution to the Sahara issue. So why would a whole ambassador of a country go on and make up such a story? Of course, Deputy President has come out and made that clarity, which I think is a good thing. I don't know, but why would the other side think it's a good idea there to go and fabricate this story if at all it's not true? Douglas.
Miriam, I have said before and I will keep saying this. This is an issue of diplomatic concern. This is an ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco to our country that made the assertions. And the professor knows very well, he's even older than me, is the age of my father. You cannot be able to use your position as an ambassador to make a public rise or even your own assertions. There are so many ambassadors that they disagree even with the President Uhuru Kenyatta, but they cannot wake up and issue a statement contradicting the stand of their nation against the president of the Republic of Kenya or the people of Kenya. So the issue here is that the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya is trying to outwink Kenyans. He is lying. That is a case of Deputy President William Ruto lying directly. Because, Miriam, there are so many ways to verify information that comes from an embassy, from an ambassador, from a country. For example, what Nairobi says today is what Casablanca says tomorrow. If what Casablanca says tomorrow is not what Nairobi says on Monday, it means there is a diplomatic row. And in this case, the Kingdom of Morocco, through the ambassador, have spoken. And the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto of the Republic of Kenya, is speaking as if it is hearsay and a rumor. But at the end of the day, Miriam, we have to look at it. What is at stake here? The Kingdom of Morocco cannot be able to lie because of the issues that are at hand. They know that the position of Kenya in terms of the regional standing and the dependency that the Republic of Kenya has been able to stand for over time, you cannot be able to antagonize Kenya by naming a Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya as having spoken of an issue and also taken a stand to support Morocco. So, Miriam, this is an issue of diplomatic dispatch that the Deputy President, William Ruto, is bringing along that we cannot be able to let him go with. He cannot go scot-free, Miriam. This is an issue that we need to be able to demystify and tell as it is. Miriam, as an individual, I can be able to have a spat with Musa because we are individuals. We can go to the civil court. But this issue is a diplomatic issue. It is Deputy President William Ruto who spoke to the Kingdom of Morocco ambassador. And if today he has seen that he cannot be able to withstand the heat and he wants to withdraw the statement, it is a lie, Miriam, and we cannot be able to let him go scot-free over that. He needs to take responsibility and apologize to the people of Kenya and to the people of the Kingdom of Morocco. You can't speak to the ambassador and then you antagonize us. This is the same man that is antagonizing us with the world in terms of the wars of vaccine and all.
Okay, all right. He must have suffered a bit of a technical hitch there. Jeven Karanja, I'm struggling to understand why a whole ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco to Kenya would go on and make such assertions that the Deputy President's position was for a unified Morocco and not the, the Western Sahara. Sahawari has been meaning to get its own independence, and we've talked about here, especially last week. And what I find to be interesting is these claims and these publications happened on the 24th and the 26th. And then the Deputy President's letter was written on April 12th, I think after we had that show, if I'm not very wrong. So why was he quiet all this time, Chairman? I don't know if Dr. Nyanchama is there. All right, Professor, go ahead.
Yeah, Miriam, that's very good. That's very good, Miriam. If it was not true, it happened 24th and 26th, Miriam. Why could not this honorable brother of mine, Ambassador Sinde, not have said something on 27, 28, 29, 30th, 31st, and 1st, all the way up to today? Up to 12. Miriam.
After Professor, sure. You made noise here.
No. I know that ambassador for Morocco is a rogue ambassador because once again in the case, you see, Miriam, he was trying to remove the flag for the Sahrawi people, and I don't know why the government of Kenya did not take action on this man. Be it as it may, Miriam, on this, I have to believe the ambassador of Morocco, of the Kingdom of Morocco. They discussed, and that's what the Deputy President said. Miriam, my parting thoughts were, what the Deputy President did, that is gross misconduct, Miriam, against the policies of this country, Miriam, going against what the government stands for, which was enough for him to be impeached. And that's what I recommended for those who are responsible to process a motion for impeachment to do. So they are turning around and saying that the ambassador for Morocco is the one who has cooked these works. Yes, the ambassador for Morocco has cooked these works, Miriam. His Excellency, the ambassador for Morocco, Miriam, who imbued bad motive on the deputy president of the country, Miriam, then the Ministry for Foreign Affairs is sitting on their job. They should be able to ask the government for Morocco to recall that kind of ambassador and have another ambassador, Miriam.
That is serious.
I have told you 2 occasions, Miriam. If it is true, Miriam, if it is true. So these are 2 words against the other, Miriam. This one saying I said and the other one I said Z. Let me hear now whether the ambassador of Morocco is going to deny and say, I'm sorry, I was misquoted. That was not said. If the contrary is not said, Miriam, then what the ambassador for Morocco said is true, and action should be taken to the deputy president for having impeached Miriam. And I've always told you, Miriam, then that when you say this is what you are telling me. If you want to get the true version of something, the opposite is true. So in this case, I choose to believe the ambassador for the Kingdom of Morocco to Nairobi.
Okay, his name is El Mokhtar Gamboa. So now the DP said Kenya will continue backing the independence of the Sahrawi Republic, clarifying that there were no divisions in the country's top leadership on the contentious issue. And I think that was what we were looking at last time here. So Douglas, what the DP is saying, hey, on this one, he is with our president. All right, I see Musa is there. Musa, yes, on this matter, Ruto has come out to clear his name, but the professor is not buying it very well.
Thank you, Miriam. I think diplomatically, the strategy taken by William Ruto as far as this is concerned, Miriam, because there is one thing in diplomacy. When an ambassador or an envoy says something, Miriam, they say it with a reason, a deliberate move. And it's very rare to make a mistake in diplomacy and international relations. It's very rare. If you are indeed a diplomat or a sovereign head of a country or a deputy sovereign head of a nation, you watch your words, you watch what you say. If indeed William Ruto was very genuine in that it was a mistake, Kevin Osinda said it was a mistake, or even the ambassador of the kingdom, then it could have been responded to, Miriam, the next day. So this is more of a deterrence move and not what you call it a mistake. The deputy president was aware when he talked about this, he was aware of Kenya's stand on the issue. Miriam, let us get it very clear. Before a joint communique is made in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, a lot of deliberation, cross-section analysis, proofreading is made. So when Deputy President William Ruto comes out and tells me he was misquoted, then it's really unconvincing, Miriam. And secondly, if it's not discussing the relation between Kenya and Morocco, then what any other business could have been between the ambassador of the kingdom and William Ruto? Are we talking about now how they are chatting on constructing or renovating Thika Superhighway because the deputy president is saying it was for other business? Miriam, the envoy of a nation meeting the deputy sovereign head of a state is purely bilateral issue between the two countries, nothing else. You can't stand here discussing EAC because Morocco is not a part of EAC. We could not have been shocked if indeed Ambassador of Kenya to Uganda could have been talking with Museveni or Ruto. Fine, that one you could understand. It could have been maybe other business. But Miriam, this is Maghreb, Morocco. So the deputy president has an audacity of saying we were discussing other issues. So I think it was more of let's say a cover-up for a diplomatic embarrassment, because what William Ruto was trying to do was trying to wait for some shadow diplomacy, engaging very powerful individual as far as this Sahrawi issue is concerned. So Miriam, I don't see any genuine response, happening in that, he was misquoted. He was not misquoted. Let me say, he was timed. In diplomacy, Miriam, it's all about timing. Now Iran is saying for all the sanctions, for us to normalize our relations with Israel, all the sanctions against us should be removed for us to begin the nuclear talk. That is timing, Miriam. They never said that under Donald Trump. So why is it that William Ruto has to wait till 2021 so that he can make a statement, Miriam, on about the issue of Sahrawi people and the issue of, autonomy? Miriam, when he was speaking about unifying, it's very sarcastic, Miriam. He is speaking about the unity and autonomy of the Moroccan people. Miriam, you don't have any sovereign power to speak about unity of a nation. If indeed William Ruto could have been so genuine, he could have started with BBI. If indeed the issue of uniting a kingdom is concerned, Miriam, a kingdom doesn't have to be united. Morocco is very stable, and the leadership of those kings and those monarchy, Miriam. So I'm really shocked that indeed a deputy president of a different religion can wage for a political autonomy and unity of an Islamic state, Miriam. It's diplomatically it can't pull together. If indeed maybe Amina Mohammed could have spoken about that, I could have understood, because maybe they could have been tied together by some religious ties. But Miriam, this is an Anglican president, deputy president, who has no religious ties or homage to the Moroccan, monarchy, Miriam. And so I don't see any. It has flopped, Miriam. Let me say they tried some public relations stunt, but it has really flopped emphatically.
Okay, thank you so much. And just to get a last word on this topic, Jevan Karanja, we had this conversation the other day. Now, DP Ruto has come out to say, no, he never said such a thing. So I'm just wondering, why would a whole, diplomat, a whole ambassador of another country sit on a television station or quote something that is so untrue and something that is quite of such a magnitude? Why would he imply, if at all, the deputy president? I don't know. What do you make of this? But the deputy president has said this is not his position. He's supporting Kenya's position on this matter.
It's so unfortunate, Miriam. And we are used to our deputy president always going contrary to what the head of state is saying. He wants to show signs of defiance. He wants to come out and portray himself as a face of opposition in his own government. On the issue of Morocco and the Sahrawi people getting their independence, the Kenya as a country, it's very clear that they want the people to be given a chance to have a referendum so that they can shut their way without the interference. They can have their say, whether they want to remain on the larger Moroccan or they have their own independence. And when we read, we understand that the deputy president was supporting the Morocco in terms of having the people of Sahrawi staying under the Morocco leadership or under the Morocco empire. Therefore, when you look at this issue, the deputy president is really trying to portray that I didn't say this, I didn't this. But all said and done, we know he is a person who tries to go contrary to what the government of the day has stand for. Therefore, it might be true that is what he said. Although he is trying to clear his name, we know the deputy president, he can say this at the morning, and the evening he can try to say, I didn't say what I said in the morning. Therefore, that is the true character of a deputy president. But all said and done, we need to have these people have their own way. They have their referendums, they have their say on what they want to do with their lives, because we cannot interfere. But if the deputy president supports those kind of intimidation, supports where people are suppressed, supports where people are denied their freedom, they are denied education, they are denied basic rights, then we see the true character of the deputy president. If we can support Morocco on that, Miriam, he can also support other countries that intimidate other people. He can support a motion that will intimidate other groups of people. Therefore, this is the true.
Okay. We have suffered another technical hitch there from Jevan Karanja, who was making a very good point there. So when he's able to be back, Jevan, then he will continue to conclude that, all right, that point there. So let's see. Let's see what, as Professor has said, what the ambassador to Morocco in Kenya, El Mokhtar, will respond about this matter. And maybe he will not say anything. Remember, he's a diplomat. So anyway, the Standard newspaper, I think we've talked about this headline, Uhuru Raila new flurry of meetings. And I don't think we'll get into that very much. And then we do have the Daily Nation, Raila in talks with Gideon and Muhoho. I think the same thing that we've talked about. So anyway, Professor Kameri Mbote yesterday, in a spirited fight to become Chief Justice, she explained how her academic experience will be best utilized as Kenya's most powerful judge, and how technology and employee motivation will be her key tenure. And right now we've seen, I think the third one right now is being interviewed. I don't know, so far, Professor, what do you make of these two candidates that have been interviewed so far? The first one, Mr. Juma, Justice Juma on Monday, and then yesterday, Professor Kameri Mbote.
Miriam, I have not been keenly
following,
watching them, but I wish all the candidates well, and Miriam, that whoever takes that seat it will serve the people of Kenya. But I looked at the in-depth of Professor Mbote. She's scholarly. Apart from some of the integrity issues, Miriam, some Kenyans were trying to throw spanners on her. She's a polished one. The other one, the other Chitembo, Miriam, you saw Miriam. He cried when he was reminded on that anti-corruption case, Miriam. And that one, as someone in the office of that Chief Justice, Miriam, it would have worked against him, Miriam. It could have against him to control his emotions, Miriam. We cannot put you as the Chief Justice, Miriam, to go and when things go well, you start crying, Miriam.
What is wrong with crying?
So that's what I have to say, Miriam. That's what I have to say.
But Professor,
one of the things
the reason as to why he cried,
I've never seen Kenyans trying to say something that so and so deserves to be the Chief Justice, but Kenyans sometimes we have become so malicious. But that's how the Constitution allows for public participation, Miriam. You can say anything that you want to say, but I want to say that sometimes let us not be able to destroy some people's career.
Okay, very well. I hear you, Professor Jared Onyari. Douglas Kirimi, have you placed your bet on any of the two yet, or am I to go the rest of the 8 ones remaining? Oh, Douglas is not there, Javen.
Thank you, Miriam, for that question. And from the observation that I've made from the Chief Justice, who are the candidates who are being interviewed by the Judicial Service Commission, Miriam, I'm not yet certified, because to me, I'm looking for somebody who can accelerate the fight against corruption, and somebody who can sound different with the Chief Justice. We had like David Maraga and the previous one, because all of what they are saying is what the David Maraga was saying, and others, that they will digitalize the hearing of the cases. They will and ease the burden of the court cases, and so on. Therefore, they are repeating the same things that we have been hearing from the previous candidates. But when given a chance, like David Kenani Maraga, we didn't see much happening in terms of this case backlogs in our courts. We have seen huge number and disappearance of files being so rampant even in the recent times. Therefore, to me, I'm looking for someone who can talk of the issue of dealing with corruption, who can talk of the issue of streamlining the Judicial Service Commission and our courts, so that they can work in line with justice delivery and ensuring that Kenyans have trust in our courts, and to the least, people of Kenya and the public to have confidence in our courts and to see that justice is being delivered. And when we go to our courts, Miriam, we'll be assured that the verdict that will be given will be what deserved. But what we are having are people who are coming to tell us the usual rhetoric. I'm still waiting for that guy who will come head on and talk about the issue of corruption and bringing our courts together, and just to read from the same script. Because we have been seeing judges, when a verdict is made in High Court, the Court of Appeal, they go and maybe try to rectify something, but it ends up sounding more of uncoordinated in terms of the Constitution compared to what was said in the High Court. Therefore, we need a smooth running of our judicial wheels. That to me is a Chief Justice that I want to see. Somebody who will work better than David Maraga or the previous Chief Justice to ensure that this country, Kenyans, the minds that we have, that the courts are the drilling the fight against corruption, they are denying Kenyans justice, so that we can have a country where we have confidence in our judicial commission.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evan. Musa, is there, of all the candidates that we've seen being interviewed so far, is there any that you could place your bet on as our next Chief Justice?
Yeah. Thank you, Miriam. I think, just to be very honest, I will go with Justice Chitembwe Miriam, who was interviewed the first day. That guy really brought a lot of sense and logic in Kenyan judicial system. When he spoke about the case of the 17-year-old girl, Miriam, and the 18-year-old guy, whom he had to free the 18-year-old guy because he knew it very well. Sometimes when you apply the law and you forget the logic, then it could be a disastrous. And he gave out a scenario whereby he said there was a time he tried that, and what happened was the lady cried and said, "No, where is my husband? You are creating a social distrust and cracking the society simply because of a rule that you need to follow the the rules of the constitution and the rule of law." I think what Chitembwe brought, Miriam, was the mixture of the respect to rule of law and use of logic. A good number of our judges, Miriam, you see something is very wrong, you see a corrupt individual, but he is being freed because he has been granted a bail, which is in the constitution. But now, Miriam, when you use a logic, and that's why, by the way, I always say, that's why these Wazungus and European countries don't have a written constitution. They use the precedents of what has been decided in the past. Like the Magna Carta of 1883, up to now, the Britain is relying on that, Miriam. They use logic, the prevalence of the situation, the circumstance, to deliver a judgment. And so when I see Chitembwe speaking about that, Miriam, I see more of a very diverse and very dynamic guy who is coming from one of the, let's say, politically incorrect regions, and that is, the coastal area, Miriam, and we need to be very careful in this. But I know very well they are going to give the Chief Justice position to Fred Ngatia, Miriam. That's what I know, because he's politically correct, because he is someone who is close to the deciders of this country. But how I wish, Miriam, if this country could have moved forward the same way we risked Mwai Kibaki giving Willy Mutunga that chance, and Willy Mutunga really devolved, Miriam, judiciary. Actually, one of the reasons as to why Maraga succeeded was the openness brought by Justice Willy Mutunga. So I saw Chitembwe Miriam as someone who was really very logical, because he's saying, let us accept it is not about the issue of the justice delivery. He said, let us accept the fact that the judiciary is corrupt. It's very hard to get a judicial officer telling in the face of Judicial Service Commission, Miriam, the likes of, led by one very critic and a hard-headed man, Justice Warsame, telling them, let us accept that judiciary is corrupt. So I saw Chitembwe, and yesterday I saw something good about the professor, the lady Miriam. The lady was an embodiment that indeed a woman can work hard. A woman can drive through one of the most squeezed spaces for women, that is the judicial system, and still become the Chief Justice, Miriam. And she's trying to defeat that mediocrity of our women who are thinking that the only way they can make it, especially our generation, the only way they can make it through life is by getting married to a rich man and then starting off your life with plunder and luxury. What I saw in Professor Mbote's yesterday was genuinity, honesty, and how I wish one day the person who could have been delivering justice for this country, Miriam, could have been a mother. How beautiful could have been, because a mother brings that dynamics of emotions and understanding, Miriam.
Okay.
There are some things
it's not
when,
too late. She was just interviewed, so they've not decided yet. So we cannot lose hope of having a mother there, as you put it. Musa.
Miriam, politically in this country, Miriam, we know it's going to be Fred Ngatia as far as the next Chief Justice is concerned. Even yesterday, I don't know, Ahmed Abdel Nasser or one of the senior council lawyers, he said this is just a formality. Fred Ngatia should just prepare his suit and swearing in ceremony, because there is nothing. They're just doing a formality. But Miriam, we've seen a dynamics of what the potential, even the issue of including women in justice delivery can bring, Miriam. Because when Professor was speaking, she was speaking from, she referred to Strathmore, the issue of dean, the issue of delay in exams, and, the issue of admission into this bar and sort of the stuff, Miriam. So at least I'm convinced that in this country, there are good people, at least in the judicial system. But my pick could have been Chitembwe, but I know it will be Fred Ngati and Miriam. I submit.
Okay, very well. So today they continue to look for the next. So they're interviewing the third candidate there. I think the person that I would have wanted to, Justice Mumbi Ngugi, if at all she would have applied for that position.
Wow.
I think
you are very right, Miriam. I support you that one wholeheartedly. Justice Mumbi Ngugi, yeah.
But she did not apply for that position, unfortunately. I think she would be my pick any day because of how we've seen her perform. So as we conclude, Russia's Sputnik V to be shipped out. The story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. The state drugs regulator has said the entire consignment of the banned Russian COVID-19 vaccine must be shipped out of the country unless the health ministry grants special exemptions. So are you shipping this thing out or not? But they're saying unless the health ministry grants special exemptions. In yet another twist to be debated on how 228 Kenyans who were vaccinated with Sputnik V a vaccine will access a second dose, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board has said it will require authority in writing from the ministry for any quantities of the vaccine to be retained. In the absence of such an approval, the supplier must re-export the remaining doses of the vaccine, whose administration was banned by Kenya authorities with 75,000 doses already in the country. Sasa wanasema warudishe it was shipped out. Professor.
Yeah, Miriam, this is how it is supposed to be done, Miriam. It's unfortunate that the vaccine has found itself in the country.
Yeah.
And the government is now even becoming more civil to tell them that the export it back to where you want to take it. But ordinarily, Miriam, woods which find them their ways to the country, Miriam, and deter, they are supposed to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that will send a very serious warning. But trying to say that you ship them to wherever, that's it. They are trying to be a little bit civil. And Miriam, you know what? Those people will just be in the ship and they will be hanging in the high seas, Miriam. You know that?
Mm-hmm.
And at that brief time, Miriam, you will find them back to the country. Haven't you seen that the government says now you can import maize, and we say we are importing maize from Brazil? How long does it take before you find some maize here in the country? So that is the fear, Miriam, here is that if the government is not going to destroy it, then let them just arrive in the country, because I know it will find its way to the country, Miriam. So that one I can guarantee.
You're saying you should not even leave the country. So this is what is interesting. A senior officer at the PBP, that is Poisons and Board, told the nation, the importers at the Poisons and Pharmacy Board, told the nation that the importers have since applied online to re-export the vaccine. However, they will not be cleared unless they reconcile the quantities. So commonly they issued certain amount. So they want the Ministry of Health wants you to bring the rest in your back. And I'm sure they must have been vaccinating some people.
Yeah, you know, Miriam,
so they told have to bring everything, and we have to count, and then we see.
It will be only fair for those who have been vaccinated, Miriam. Mm-hmm. They should have the equal chap, so Miriam, which you can get for the second vaccination, Miriam. Mm-hmm. That's when we are a little bit human. Mm-hmm. But Miriam, that's what you can see. That is outright corruption. Mm-hmm. You don't want me to say another name. That's outright corruption, Miriam. And believe me, Miriam, if they don't adopt my approach, Miriam, of destroying those woods which find their ways in the country, illegal, Miriam. And Miriam, the doses, Miriam, this is public gimmick going on. It will end up being in the country, Miriam.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so should the Ministry of Health consider special exemption for the 228 Kenyans who got their first doses, then it implies that it will have to foot storage charges of the vaccine. It is unclear whether the government would accept to pay the bill, particularly with respect to a drug it is throwing out of the country, considering that in the past, vaccines against other diseases such as tetanus have gone bad at the Mombasa port over row on storage charges. The latest controversy casts doubt on whether those who opted for the Russian vaccine are guaranteed of the second dose. But if it's only 228 Kenyans who got their first jab, then that is a very small amount that can fit a normal refrigerator. I mean, storage shouldn't be a problem so that these Kenyans are able to get their second dose. But what do I know? Chairman Karanja.
The argument I think is not far away from mine, Miriam.
Yeah.
If you import goods to this country, you don't have permission, Miriam, you have frauded the law, Miriam, the goods should be imported and destroyed. It's simple as that. Mm-hmm. Remember what Michukis found, that the people who are not clearing their cars, their vehicles from at the port. Mm-hmm. What did you see? Miriam, he went there and destroyed them. Mm-hmm. And you want to tell Miriam that tomorrow you will import?
Yeah.
A message, Miriam, of deterrence must be sent. Mm-hmm. But so also, they don't have the storage facilities, Miriam. They are going to go bad, and it may end up, Miriam, going to be used for human consumption, Miriam.
Mm-hmm. But Professor, it is the Poisons and Pharmacy Board that authorized the importation of this vaccine. Let's just start from there.
Miriam, when you don't belong to the kitchen, and if the heat becomes too much, Miriam, mm-hmm. you just get out.
Okay.
People, Miriam, what's happening? This is shifting of blame. Nobody wants to take responsibility, Miriam.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It is not something you can put in the pocket, Miriam. Even if you put something in the pocket, Miriam, you cannot be cleared at the airport. You know how these things are coming, Miriam. So this is someone who is trying to, and I told you the other day, the geopolitics and the politics of the geopolitics and the politics of the Cold War. There's nothing fancy, Miriam. This commodities, this drug is being used in Russia. Yeah.
Okay.
So Miriam, I always say that Miriam, a mistake has been done, Miriam. If we can have an engagement and a conversation, Miriam, mm-hmm. We will always come out as a solution, Miriam. But when we don't talk to one another, mm-hmm. this what can be done. No one, Miriam, wants to own responsibility mm-hmm. and say a mistake has been done. How do we correct it, Miriam?
Very true. Jevan Karanja.
Yes. The same vaccine, Miriam, I'm trying to tell you, mm-hmm. it is being used in Russia. Mm-hmm. It's being used in Russia.
Russia, that is the only vaccine they're using.
I've seen Putin being done on. Mm-hmm. And if the people who imported those vaccines to the country, Miriam, mm-hmm. if they committed a crime, Miriam, why can't they be charged? Mm-hmm. Are you saying one? Mm-hmm. So, Miriam, there's a lot of politics going on, and which is not good.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much. Jevan Karanja.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And before I answer this issue of vaccine, mm-hmm. and Musa and a lot of Kenya are saying that the interviews that you have for the Chief Justice mm-hmm. are just a formality. Then why don't we as a country consider Kenyans voting for their Chief Justice as we do for the President to avoid all these kind of dramas?
And where has that happened in the world, Jevan? Where did the people vote for a Chief Justice? Tell me.
We can try it here. We can try it here at home
so
to clear the doubts. That was just, by the way. But on this issue of vaccination and so on, if anybody has committed a crime to bring these vaccines that the government has not authorized to be used at home, then they need to be taken to a court of law. They need to suffer severely so that they act as an example to others who might want to bring Kenyans things that have not been authorized. Miriam, when we had the counterfeit goods in the port of Mombasa, they were destroyed completely. And that is when we had the outcry from the Gikomba sellers and other business people crying that their goods are being destroyed. And we had people who are of the argument that those counterfeit goods should have around in the country, the sellers to sell it, but they should not be given license to import in future. Therefore, I feel like the best option that we have, these vaccines should not be taken back to where they came from, because maybe somebody has already made profit with them. They should have been taken somewhere in the government facility to be stored there or to be destroyed, because we don't know how it might come back again. If the government was not aware that the vaccine was coming back in the first place, they can take it outside the country and they ship it in later days. Therefore, as a country, and I blame the people who import these things and the people who give the license to importation of these drugs, they are the big casualties and they are the big culprits to these crimes. Therefore, they need to go to a jail, because they have allowed goods that are not authorized to come to the country and they don't want to take the responsibility. I don't see that exporting them back as the only option. We need to be, if that is the only option, let them be taken back where they came from, to Russia. And those people who allowed these vaccines from Russia to come to our country, they need to be held liable. Also, the issue in question, Miriam, of the 200 and something people have been already getting their first jab. Mm-hmm. I think the government should give them a chance to get their second jab. Therefore, the government has a lot to do, but at the end of the day, the government should be in place to protect its people from those kind of damages that are being committed, because there are some Kenyans who might have been vaccinated out of maybe ignorance, but maybe because the vaccine was already in the country and they saw it as a best option. Therefore, it's high time that the government carries the blame, and the people in the KEMSA and the other guys who do this, the poisoners and control board, so that they carry the blame, and they need to be disciplined, so that in future we avoid these kind of encounters. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Musa, end it for us.
Thank you, Miriam. It's a bit I'm trying to get. Thank you, Miriam. I think just to go directly to the point, as my brother Javana said, I know how we wish that judicial officers, Miriam, could have been given, could have been voted by people, but that cannot happen because of some competency clause, Miriam. Mm-hmm. And as far as this is concerned, the issue of judiciary, Miriam, it's something which, is progressive. It cannot be halted, Miriam. And wherever we go, Miriam, Kenyan justice system and anywhere in the world, Miriam, we must have a challenge. Like what is currently happening in United States of America, Miriam. Like it is known, the video showed that George Floyd was killed to suffocation, Miriam. But now the defense, they are saying the guy died of the overdose. And Justice Chitembo said one thing. Even if when the accused will raise his hand up and says that they want to speak, give them a chance. So, and Waswahili walisema sheria ni msumeno, Miriam, hukata mbele na nyuma. But we want to see, a country which is, really progressive, Miriam. And my parting shot is, whoever will come into that place, Miriam, I know it's going to be another defining moment for Kenyan judicial system, because we are now grappling with a lot of contemporary issues as far as, the famous, Miriam, controversial law on data privacy and the formation of, data commissioners is concerned in this country, the security issue, taking of pictures of, dead people and maybe, an incident. All these are things, which requires, an elaborate explanation, Miriam. So my parting shot, as far as these issues of judiciary is concerned, we shall see how things will play, Miriam. Mm-hmm. But John Mason always advises us that there is always, positivity in adversity. We might see Fred Ngatia becoming the Chief Justice, Miriam, of this country, but we've seen also that there are some people who are potential and they can lead indeed in such kind of corridors of justice, Miriam.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, and that is where we end our show today. On the page 10 of the Daily Nation, U.S. suspends Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The United States has suspended the use of a COVID-19 vaccine that Kenya is eyeing over fears that it causes blood clots. Now, if the U.S. have suspended it, then we should stop eyeing it, Professor. I mean, it's only logical.
Miriam, I want to add a bit on that issue of Johnson and Johnson.
Just stop eyeing that thing. Yeah.
It has an efficacy level of 61 to 69%, Miriam. That is very low, and And I don't know why we are being, the one which Kenya could have been subscribed to, Miriam, could have been Pfizer, which has an efficacy level of 91%. So I don't know why we are so obsessed with Johnson and Johnson, or is it because, it is the United Kingdom factor? Maybe Professor Nyari can help, but that's my humble suggestion.
All right. President Uhuru Kenyatta, we should stop eyeing that. If it's really causing troubles or somewhere else, let's take our time and let's just stick to AstraZeneca while we are, sharing that other one to Russia. Let's just stick to the one we have, which has been working for us. I think so far we've not heard of any, complications. So it has been working well. I don't know, but of course they have the proper information. This has been Good Morning Africa. Thank you so much, Professor Jared Onyari. Thank you so much, Musa Abdi, Douglas Kirimi, Jevan Karanja, and of course, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, who left the conversation a bit earlier there. My name is Mira Mogutu. We shall be back here, I think, at 2 p.m. with Diplomatic Leaks, and we shall be looking at what is really going on there in Somalia. President Farmajo has received a new lease of life, 2 more years there. What's really happening there? And also some news that I just seen about now a former president of Burkina Faso, Compaoré, Blaise Compaoré, will now stand trial over the murder of Thomas Sankara. That is one of the stories that has really fascinated me in this continent. They were bosom buddies, and why former President Compaoré is the one who's facing trial and not French, I don't understand, because France really had a huge hand in the death of Thomas Sankara. So that is a conversation we'll have some other time. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Miriam.